WNBA free agency, the moment that we have all been waiting for. And boy, did things start off with a bang. I'm sure that you've already seen the news, but it was just announced that Angel Reese has been traded from the Chicago Sky to the Atlanta Dream. Now, this is actually something that didn't surprise me. I actually didn't expect to see Angel Reese in a Chicago Sky jersey this season, especially with how her season ended last year with the Chicago Sky. There was clearly some friction between her and the franchise. And it seems like Angel Reese is very happy to be going to Atlanta. But the thing that did surprise me about this trade is the details of it. So let me break it down for you guys. So Atlanta will receive, of course, Angel Reese and the right to swap a second-round pick with the Chicago Sky in 2028. Now, the Chicago Sky received the Dream's 2027 first-round pick and the Dream's 2028 first-round pick. That's it, you guys. 2 first-round picks for Angel Reese. That is it. And if we look at the Atlanta Dream from last season, they were a really solid team. So adding Angel Reese to the mix with this Atlanta Dream team, if they're able to keep the roster.
What if the very individual meant to launch the WNBA into a whole new orbit is also the same figure the league's inner circle may be quietly working against? It sounds almost like a conspiracy, yet a string of jaw-dropping in-game moments, sharp off-court reactions, background noise of tension, and a ruthless, calculated move from the top levels of authority have convinced millions of supporters that a silent battle is unfolding against Angel Reese. The reality behind this developing story is deeper and more unsettling than most expected, exposing a league seemingly clashing with its own rise. When Clark was selected first overall by the Indiana Fever, Angel Reese, it was celebrated as a massive shift, a defining moment for women's pro basketball. She wasn't simply another skilled newcomer. She arrived as a phenomenon, a once-in-a-generation talent who had shattered records and transformed audience engagement at the college level. Angel Reese, her matchups drew audiences that eclipsed even the Stanley Cup Finals and LB postseason games. She became the centerpiece, the must-watch star, essentially pushing the league toward long-awaited changes like private team travel instead of commercial flights, something veterans had pushed for years. Venues that once struggled to fill seats were suddenly packed within minutes, with resale prices climbing to record highs. Angel Reese's impact was undeniable, powerful, and instantaneous. Angel Reese, everything seemed aligned for a triumphant arrival, a grand introduction to the professional stage that would elevate the entire game alongside her. Yet instead of celebration, Angel Reese, what followed felt harsh and unrelenting, more like a trial by fire. The red carpet vanished, replaced by constant pressure, and from the opening tip of her very first appearance, Angel Reese, it became strikingly obvious this was no ordinary transition.
They just going to continue to tank and rebuild over the next 5 years. Now, also on top of that, you guys, Chicago is hosting the All-Star game this season. And so obviously with it being in Indiana last year, it was kind of like Caitlin Clark's All-Star. And then this year was going to be like Angel Reese's All-Star in her city in Chicago. But now, like, we are just going to have to see what the Chicago Sky do, because this felt like a loss to me. This felt like they lost this trade, and I don't know what they're going to do with their team. Now, on the flip side, you guys, a lot of Indiana Fever fans were noticing that the Indiana Fever play the Atlanta Dream 4 times this season, and that's more than they play any other team. And this schedule was announced before it was known that Angel Reese would have been going to the Atlanta Dream. And as we saw in the first 2 years of both Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese's career, the WNBA set it up so that Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark were playing each other so many times throughout the season. Like, those were the biggest games that they continued to hype up. So many fans are saying, like, did Kathy know something? Did Kathy know that Angel would be going to the Atlanta Dream, and she made sure to set it up so that we still got that college rivalry with these two teams? But nonetheless, you guys, the Fever will be playing the Atlanta Dream 4 times this season. They've already announced that they will be moving at least one of those games to a bigger arena in the.
They weren't giving her any room to operate, sending a statement through every collision, every nudge, and every crushing scream. This went beyond standard physical play. It carried a different edge, something that felt unmistakably personal. It appeared less like routine defense and more like a coordinated effort, carefully aimed not only at limiting her impact but at wearing her down, forcing her to doubt whether she truly belonged at this level. That silent warning was about to arrive in the most blatant form imaginable, igniting a storm of backlash that would pull back the curtain and reveal a bitter, simmering side of the league. The contact she endured on the court was only the beginning of Angel Reese's troubling narrative. The exact instant the entire sports world sensed something was seriously off came in an intense matchup with the Chicago Sky. It wasn't a physical screen in the middle of action or a gritty rebound battle beneath the basket. It was a brutal, unexpected shoulder hit from Kennedy Carter, a play that simply didn't belong in the game of basketball. Carter didn't just foul Angel Reese, she leveled her. It was a clear, reckless cheap shot delivered nowhere near the play, sending Clark crashing hard onto the court. The clips spread instantly, and outrage exploded across the sports world. This wasn't a rookie initiation. It looked like a calculated attempt to cause harm, a message delivered with intent. Carter's dismissive reaction when Angel Reese afterward, paired with teammate Angel Reese openly celebrating from the sideline, only intensified the backlash. This one disturbing moment quickly became a symbol of a larger issue, highlighting the resentment and envy many believed had been building beneath the surface. The WNBA's weak initial reaction, a basic foul that only escalated to a flagrant one after overwhelming public pressure, Angel Reese everything they needed to know.
State Farm Arena, because as you guys know, the Atlanta Dreams Arena is my least favorite arena in the WNBA. I believe it only holds 3,500 people. It doesn't have good lighting. They got to do better. Maybe with Angel Reese being in Atlanta, they will try to get themselves a better home arena, or at some point in time, they will have enough demand for tickets to where they can play all of their games in State Farm. Anyway, I hate the Atlanta Dreams Arena. And you guys, I did want to share with you guys the free agency timeline. So today is April 6th, and that is when qualifying offers, core designations can be extended, and obviously trades can start happening as early as today. And then on April 8th, which is on Wednesday, free agent negotiation period begins, and then on April 11th, free agents can sign contracts and offer sheets. So I would imagine this week is probably going to be crazy. We're going to see a lot of moving parts. And I will also say, like with my episode uploads, if I'm a little late to some of this news, just know that I will get to it when I can. So even if, news could break by the time I'm uploading this episode. So bear with me. I will do the best that I possibly can to fill you guys in on everything that's going on in free agency. And there's also going to be a lot of rumors and such as well. So I might not report on every single rumor that is happening, but one rumor that I did want to report on is the news in Seattle. So it was reported that Skylar Diggins and Neko Ogwumike are highly likely to leave the Seattle Storm during free agency. And those are two major players. So even when we're looking at the Chicago Sky, is there a world where Skylar Diggins and or Nneka go to Chicago? Just be prepared for the unexpected. That's all I would say with this W free agency. There are so many free agents.
That was all fans needed to understand. The league wasn't stepping in to shield its brightest attraction. Angel Reese was left to handle it alone. And this conflict wasn't limited to a single matchup or opponent. It appeared to stretch across the entire league. It felt like a unified stance from seasoned players who believed she hadn't yet put in the time or earned her respect. Yet while the public argued over the foul and the league's reaction, a far more unsettling storyline began to surface from an unexpected place. Her own locker room. As the season moved forward, a troubling trend became impossible to ignore, catching the attention of online analysts, former pros, and basketball experts alike. Time after time, Clark, arguably the most dangerous shooter in the game, would stand wide open beyond the arc, signaling for the ball, only to be completely overlooked by her teammates. The footage didn't lie. Instead of hitting the open perimeter option, plays were forced into crowded situations inside, while Angel Reese remained alone, a near-certain scoring chance left unused. The on-court chemistry of the Indiana Fever didn't just seem off. It looked fractured, disjointed, and at moments almost intentional. Visible frustration, lingering glances toward the bench, and tense, quiet huddles became the defining image of the team. Speculation spread rapidly online, fueling a growing and unsettling theory: Angel Reese, her own team freezing her out on purpose, Angel Reese limiting her opportunities to suppress her production? Was there resentment over the overwhelming spotlight, the massive endorsement deals like her headline-making partnership with Nike and the promise of a signature shoe? or the reality that the franchise's identity now centered around a 22-year-old rookie. Angel Reese even comments from cornerstone player Aliyah Boston failed to quiet the noise. When questioned about the apparent disconnect, her responses often felt guarded, vague, and carefully worded, hinting at deeper tensions she wasn't willing or able to fully reveal.
You guys, my mock draft or where I predict some of these players going, but after watching some of these players in the tournament, like, do you think that teams are watching them play in the tournament and that's deciding their draft stock? Do you think because Lauren Betts had such a great showing in the tournament that could raise her up to being maybe the number 2, maybe the number 3, possibly the number 1 pick in the draft? Do we think someone like a Gabriela Jaquez, who was projected in the second round, do you think she could go in the first round? Because obviously she was taking over and stepping up big in these moments. We will just have to see. But I actually saw a mock draft put out just yesterday by CBS Sports. They actually now have Awafam going number 1 in the draft. They have Olivia Miles going 2 to the Minnesota Lynx. They have AZ Fudd going 3 to the Seattle Storm. And then they have Lauren Betts going 4 to the Washington Mystics. Now, AZ Fudd going to the Seattle Storm is quite interesting. I actually had Olivia Miles going to the Seattle Storm, but the Seattle Storm reportedly is also looking for guards. They are looking to build up their roster in that sense. So we will just have to see, you guys. Like I told you guys, I will actually be at the WNBA draft next week and I will get to interview some of these draftees. So if you have any questions you would like me to ask, please let me know in the comments below. And lastly, I didn't get to talk about this, you guys, but I didn't really have much to report, honestly, about the WNBA expansion draft. So I did watch it. I wasn't expecting it to be 10 minutes long. It was so underwhelming. And that's one thing with the WNBA. Like, you just signed this brand new CBA. You have 2 new expansion teams coming into the league. Like, you would
The storyline was quickly evolving from a routine case of a rookie adjusting to the league into the unsettling possibility of something far more serious, an internal divide. Was a once-in-a-generation talent being quietly undermined not only by rivals, but also by those meant to support her? Angel Reese. The tension created a volatile atmosphere filled with uncertainty and mistrust. At the same time, the league's established power structures seemed ready to deliver an even stronger, more official, and far more damaging signal. And the hostility wasn't limited to what happened on the court. Angel Reese. It was being echoed and magnified through media voices, including some of the league's most respected figures. Veteran players, both current and former, appeared to take part in a subtle but steady effort to minimize her impact while framing the intense physical treatment she faced as normal. One of the most notable instances came from WNBA icon Diana Taurasi, who, even before Angel Reese entered the league, bluntly warned that reality is coming for her. In hindsight, that remark now feels less like neutral commentary and more like an eerie prediction, perhaps even a veiled warning. Other voices in the basketball world echoed similar sentiments, defending the constant physical play as typical for newcomers, while overlooking the obvious truth that no rookie in professional sports had ever arrived with such an enormous spotlight and target. The discussion soon grew more layered and sensitive, touching on the complex reality of a white athlete becoming the central figure in a league largely built and sustained by Black women. Many pointed out that the media's relentless framing of Clark as a savior unintentionally overshadowed the decades of work and excellence from those who built the WNBA's foundation. Angel Reese. This dynamic fueled a mix of professional resentment, cultural friction, and justified frustration. What emerged was more than just competition. It became a deeper clash between an established generation that felt overlooked and a new star symbolizing a massive shift in attention, culture, and financial momentum. Angel Reese. To some, she wasn't a unifying force lifting the league forward, but a disruption to a system they had spent years creating. That quiet, underlying conflict was on the verge of turning into something far more concrete, leading to a top-level decision that would leave millions stunned.
even see if these players who they drafted will still be on the team, because there are restricted free agents, unrestricted free agents. Like we don't know what's going to happen. And so that's why I'd rather wait than speculate on what these expansion teams are going to look like. And then I'll show you guys really quick also the Toronto Tempo roster. So they picked Julie Alamon with their first pick, and I do like her. They have Marina Mabry. Also, they have Aliyah Nye, who obviously wasn't protected by the Las Vegas Aces. They have Lexi Held, Maria Conde, again, and then Christy Wallace. Christy Wallace was the one that they picked from Indiana. So even looking at these two rosters, like I'm not sure what to expect yet. Even when we saw the Golden State Valkyries, their roster and them going into the season, like we didn't think the Golden State Valkyries were going to be that good, and then they really exceeded everyone's expectations. So when it comes to the expansion teams, you guys, I would rather not speculate at this moment in time, but I will give you updates.
What followed instead was a heavy, deliberate, and crushing silence. The Indiana Fever leadership, including President Lynn Dunn, offered only carefully worded, emotionless statements about staying focused on the season, Angel Reese's promising future, and long-term priorities. There was no visible anger, no strong defense, no sense of urgency, absolutely no pushback. Angel Reese, and in that moment of quiet restraint, the true harsh reality behind everything finally came into focus. It wasn't just about a rough foul or a controversial omission from a roster Angel Reese. It was the calculated decision by the organization to avoid standing up for their most important star. Instead of challenging the league's powerful hierarchy, they chose to remain cautious, protecting their position rather than backing the very player fueling their resurgence. Angel Reese, it felt like a deep betrayal, sending a clear message Angel Reese that she was viewed more as a business asset than a competitor worthy of protection and support. The franchise had no issue capitalizing on her popularity, selling merchandise in massive numbers and filling arenas, but when the moment arrived to defend her against the established order, they hesitated. That decision highlighted a harsh reality. Angel Reese, even her own team, seemed willing to prioritize stability and relationships within the league over her immediate well-being. Angel Reese. This silence, paired with the Olympic controversy, exposed a deeper truth about professional sports, a constant tension between the force of financial momentum and the weight of long-standing power structures.
As free agency continues on, and if they cut any of these players, if they pick up any others, like who actually signs on the dotted lines and stays with these teams, how they continue to build out, I will keep you guys posted the best that I possibly can. And with that, you guys, I think that's all that I have for you at this very moment. Like I said, there's probably going to be more breaking news as things go on this week. Also, I have had a migraine for going on 48 hours now, and I'm having trouble even seeing straight. So my apologies if I wasn't like speaking that great in this video. I wish I could just stop having the headache that I do, because it's quite debilitating at this point. So with that, that is all that I have for you guys. Please let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below. Thumbs up this video if you enjoyed it. Click that little subscribe button, because we upload new videos every single week.
By April, she began to realize that she hadn't fully understood how her frustration affected everyone around her, but seeing it on film made everything clear, leaving Angel Reese unable to deny what the footage revealed about her own reactions. So Lisa Blutter reinforced those lessons with weekly one-on-one conversations and introduced leadership reading, with Sacred Hoops by Phil Jackson becoming central to the process, drawing comparisons between Angel Reese and Michael Jordan that extended far beyond talent, as both faced immense pressure, struggled at times to rely on teammates at their level, felt criticism deeply, and could internalize frustration in ways that might turn harmful if not addressed, with Blutter pointing out key sections and explaining how Jordan learned to transform individual brilliance into Angel Reese's collective success without losing his competitive edge, while also introducing Circle Time, where players and coaches gathered to speak openly. And Angel Reese began sharing honestly about the pressure and expectations she carried. The team gradually grew closer, breaking down the invisible barriers between the star and her teammates, not instantly or easily, but step by step. Then came the concept of permission to fail, highlighted by a painful moment in the 2023 NCAA championship game against LSU Tigers women's basketball, when the game was tight and every possession mattered until Angel Reese received a technical foul, her fourth personal, forcing her to the bench at a critical stretch, with official Lisa Jones later explaining it resulted from not handing over the ball after a delay warning, a lapse in composure where the same fire that fueled her success briefly worked against her, while teammates like Monica Chinano and McKenna Warnock fouled out as the game slipped away and Iowa fell short. Yet the hardest part wasn't the defeat itself but the internal impact it had on Angel Reese, who believed she had let the team down, convincing herself she needed to be more flawless, more controlled, more dominant, a mindset that pushed her toward a dangerous level of perfectionism. Angel Reese, as Blooder observed her diving into film late at night, replaying the same sequences repeatedly, sacrificing sleep, running on exhaustion and pressure, driven by the idea that somewhere in those moments lay a perfect answer to prevent failure, spending days without real rest chasing a solution that doesn't exist. Because at the highest level of competition, perfection is an illusion. No player can control every outcome or eliminate every mistake, and the attempt to do so can wear someone down far more than any opponent ever could.